Alright guys, welcome back. We're going to talk about solving two steps inequalities. And this is going to be a quick lesson. We're going to get into it. It shouldn't take too long. Um, I'm not really going to go over this refresher, you guys. We went over inequalities before we went on our 2-week break for summer. This is just a quick reminder, guys. When we solve inequalities, it is pretty much the same thing as solving an equation. The only thing is we're dealing with the inequality sign. So, looking at what we have here, just a reminder, the goal here is to isolate the variable. Therefore, we have to use inverse operation to move the 3 to the other side. And so you end up subtracting 3 from both sides, and you end up with 5y equals 15. I'm sorry, 5y is less than 15. The next step will be use inverse operation, and you're multiplying by 5y. So you're going to either, and this is what I say, either divide by 5 because you're multiplying y times 5, or you can multiply both sides by the inverse, which is basically doing the same thing. So you're multiplying both sides by a 1/5. Okay, that 1/5 becomes 5/5, and that cancels out, and you have 15 times 1/5, which is the same as 15 divided by 5, because 15 times 1 is 15, and you have 15 over 5, which is 15 divided by 5, and you get y equals 3. Graphing the solution. When you graph inequalities, and this is key for when you guys move to algebra, you need to remember that if it does not have the or equal to sign, that it is an open circle. So you'll go to 3 on the number line. You'll open circle 3, and you want a solution where 3 is greater than everything else. Okay, so that says y is less than 3, meaning 3 is bigger than whatever y is. So any solution that is less than 3 will give you the correct answer to this inequality. Okay. I'll do this one where you have the greater than or equal to sign. We're going to subtract by 4. What that leaves us with, and remember this is 2, and you can say plus a -4 or 2 minus 4. The solution is going to be -2. Okay. And then you have a -2x. Now right here, you're going to do the inverse operation, and remember I say you can either divide by 2, or you're going to multiply both sides by a -1/2. But here's the kicker. When you divide by a negative or you multiply by a negative on an inequality, the sign flips. Notice the sign flipping here. Please do not forget that. Some of you guys made mistakes the last time we dealt with inequalities over that principle. All right. -2 times a -1/2, or -2 divided by 2 is a +1, and therefore you get x is greater than or equal to 1. Notice this time that the circle is filled in. Okay, the reason why is because this filled in circle is equivalent to 1. It's saying, hey, 1 is included. If 1 wasn't included, then the 1 would be, it would be an open circle, but you're including the 1 here. All right. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to take a break. I'm going to go to my whiteboard. I want you to pause the video, and I want you to try to work this problem. All right. So I hope that you guys work that problem out. I'm also going to graph this solution momentarily. So if you didn't graph it, go ahead and pause it and try to graph it as well, so we know what that graph looks like. The first step here, you have a -3. So we're going to do the inverse of that, which is going to be +3. Oh man, that's kind of ugly, but we're going to work with it. I'm going to draw a little line here so that I can separate. Okay. This gives me a 0 pair. That's me trying to cross that out. You end up with 11 plus 3, which is 14. Oh, that's a straight line for that one. And then you got 2x. Okay. Now, remember here, this step, Remember, I always say just divide by 2 because you're multiplying, but it's the same as in context of what's being taught in the text. Is multiplying both sides by 1/2, and I'll work that out over here times 1/2. I'm gonna work this out right here, and on the next one, I'm just gonna divide by whatever the coefficient of x is, or whatever the coefficient of the variable is. Over here, what you're looking at is you're basically looking at 14 over 1 times 1 over 2, and 14 times 1 is 14. That was ugly 4. 1 over 14 is 2, right? So now you're basically looking at a situation where it's 14 divided by 2. Well, if you go back to what I initially said, I said that you can just divide by the coefficient of the variable. And I'm just doing some erasing right here to show you that it's the same thing. So you got 2, right? Well, what I'm saying is multiplying by the reciprocal is the exact same thing as dividing. Right here, the 2 over 2 cancels out, and you're still left with the same thing here, which is 14 divided by 2. Long as you understand the principles of what's happening. 14 divided by 2 is 7, and you end up with x is greater than 7. I'm gonna do that so that it looks like a 7 and not the greater than sign. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say that this is 7. So 7 is right here, and this is just simply greater than. So I'm gonna select a different marking. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that looks like it's filled in circle. It's not what I want. I'm gonna just circle it with this pencil, and I'll use my highlighter to highlight solutions that satisfy that inequality. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I want you guys to pause the video and try to work this problem out. Okay, I hope you guys pause the video. I'm gonna draw this line once again to differentiate what's going on. Here you have a plus 4. The opposite of plus 4 is going to be minus 4, or plus a negative 4. A lot of people look at this as negative 12 and they say minus 4, and they give the answer of a negative 8, and that's incorrect. That's not applying the principles of mathematics correctly. Remember, this is the same as saying plus a negative 4, right? So negative 12 plus a negative 4 is not negative 8. It's actually a negative 16. And you got a negative 8x. Here I'm going to divide by the coefficient of the variable, which is a negative 8. And I have divide both sides by negative 8. Divide by negative 8. You end up with, got to remember, we're dividing by negative, right? Yeah, we're dividing by negative. That means that this sign is going to flip. So it's now going to be going this way. And you end up with x is greater than or equal to a positive 2, because a negative divided by a negative is a negative. So we got x is greater than or equal to a positive 2. So let's go to 2. We got 1, 2, 2 right here. Now this one is going to be fully shaded in. So I want solutions where x is bigger than that, going that way. All right. And let me go back to this other one to make sure that I'm just want to make sure that I told you guys correct. Oh yeah, we did. We want solutions where x is greater than 7. Okay, I just wanted to check and make sure that I told you guys correct. And on this one, we want solutions where x is greater than or equal to a positive 2. All right, guys, man, listen, that's it for that one. Go ahead and log on to Google Classroom, attempt that assignment. If you guys got any questions, hit me up in the Google Classroom, man, and I'll catch you guys on the next lesson. Peace.